You are listening to the Optic Blast broadcast, a hipster goblin media production.
Previously on Optic Blast broadcast. The broadcast dudes brought you the epic conclusion to our deep dive on the two-part series of All-Star Superman. Go back and check those episodes out to find out why we gave it 5 Optic Blast out of 5. It's a GOAT Superman story right there. Anyway, sticking to the DC universe, today we jump over to Gotham City to discover the origin of our favorite Bat family hero, Nightwing. I am really hype on this. It's time for episode 12, Nightwing, Year 1. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Old Man Lockman. I'm going to kick it over to my bro, the boy wonder himself, Dilly P. What's up, bro?
Oh, bro, dude, I'm super excited. I know you said you're hyped for it. I'm very hyped for this one. I think both of us are pretty big fans of Nightwing, and so I'm very excited to get into this episode of the Optic Blast broadcast. But before we do that, if you're a listener of the show, you know we like to kick it off with some comic news. So we're going to kick it off with something that I'm really hyped for, but apparently the critics are not. So I kind of wanted to touch on this upcoming Joker 2 movie. It's coming out in October. I want to say October 4th, I believe. But some of the earlier reviews of the movie are in, and it's not looking great. I found this article from Rotten Tomatoes that kind of goes over some of the basic reviews of the show, I guess. And I kind of want to take a look at that today. So basically it says, critics say Todd Phillips' follow-up benefits from another phenomenal performance from its lead, obviously Joaquin Phoenix. He does a phenomenal job. And a strong supporting turn from Lady Gaga, but it may potentially prove just as divisive as its predecessor. So the actual tomato score on this, I believe, I actually did not have that pulled up, but I want to say it's like 61% or something like that, which is it's pretty low. I mean, I do feel like oftentimes, though, whenever Rotten Tomatoes scores are low, the audience score is a lot higher. And in this case, it was very similar to the first movie. But here's some of the kind of the quotes comparing it from this movie again to what the first movie kind of brought, which is, it's very confusing here because if you would have looked at it, you would think, by the rating, obviously this movie would be a little bit lower compared to some of the comments that are being made about it. But it literally says from this guy, or gal, I'm not sure, Yasmin, I think, Candle from Awards Watch said this is far more entertaining of a film than the first one, which
maybe Yasmin didn't like the first one.
Yeah, maybe she didn't. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't. It's such a good movie. And then this Jeffrey McNabb from Independent, or sorry, I guess he is an independent critic. He just says, just as bleak and formally daring, just as edgy and disturbing as its forerunner. So, I mean, based on that, I feel like that's a good review too. I don't know. It says, and then even down here, William Babani, he says, unlike the original, which finds a perverse heroism in Arthur Fleck's failings, I honestly have no idea how to pronounce the name of this movie, so I'm gonna skip that. This movie doubles down on how pathetic he is and always was. So, I mean, I feel like I mean,
that's like the best review ever. Arthur Fleck, you suck.
I mean, I still feel like that's probably the point of this movie.
Yeah.
So again, I feel like the critics are quoting really good reviews or something that you would expect from it, and yet the actual the score is getting a 60%, which doesn't really make any sense to me.
That's always the Rotten. That's always how Rotten does it. Rotten Tomatoes is always backwards. If it's got a crap review, but the fans will love it, and at the end of the day, we can't trust them. We got to do it ourselves, right?
Yeah, that is very true. But so I with reading that, I decided to go back and look at the Joker movie review from the first film, and kind of take a look at some of that stuff. So
Compare it.
this is also like very mixed. Like Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 69, but IGN gave it a 10 out of 10, which I mean, that's very surprising from IGN. Usually they have terrible takes, but this is a good one. The IMDb is 8.4 out of 10, which is pretty average. So I don't know. I just feel like it's going to have mixed reviews. So this honestly doesn't necessarily make me lose faith in this film. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be just as good as the first one. I think it'll be a different take, a different style, obviously with it being like a musical, and you have adding in, Lady Gaga. I think I've never really seen I think we might have talked about this before, but I've never really seen a whole lot of Lady Gaga movies. I've seen her in like American Horror Story, but I also know that she typically knocks it out of the park based on what people usually say about her performances. So I have confidence in the film. I don't believe anything Rotten Tomatoes says.
There you go. We're going to try it out, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm looking forward to it 100%. And so next up is something that I'm excited for it, but I'm kind of disappointed, if I'm being honest, because it didn't happen. It should have happened, but I guess it didn't. And Blake, you might actually be kind of excited about this, that it was at least even possible. And this was a cameo that was supposed to happen in the Deadpool and Wolverine film, but unfortunately it did not happen. But we got screenshots from the set. I guess they actually filmed it. Unless I'm wrong, this might be an altered image. I don't know. But
all right, I'm excited now because I don't know about this. What is this?
Either way, I think it's pretty cool, even if it's fake. But here it is.
No way.
Yeah.
Cyclops was in there with the Jim Lee suit on? Dude,
yeah, so
why'd they cut that?
I don't know. Like I said, this may be Hugh and someone altered this image because it doesn't look great.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, this would have been super sick. I really wish we would have got something like this.
Yeah, dude. I mean we can hold out for the hope of the future. Is that my hope is this when it comes to our boy Cyclops. If you're a fan of Optic Blast Broadcast, day one, we came out swinging. We're literally called Optic Blast Broadcast because of our boy Scott Summers. That's our dude. But he, day one, we've been down with Cyclops on this. But I saw Wolverine's suit in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, the yellow. And I immediately in my head started making in my imagination that style of suit for Cyclops, like the Jim Lee suit. And it kind of looks exactly like what this is like. It's a kind of a zoomed out image, but yeah, that it works. That would work. They could totally pull it off. They could totally do it. Now that Hugh Jackman's has finally put on the yellow and the blue, we can see the rest of the team like that. And I have high hopes for MCU X-Men that they come in like that.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think that they're gonna be able to pull that very comic accurate X-Men off in the MCU, especially, and I have full confidence that they'll be able to do that. Like I said, I don't know if that was actually a real image. I just, in light of our name, I figured I would share it.
It's much appreciated. I didn't know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely think it'd be pretty cool. If we got some sort of Cyclops cameo, but I'm still hopeful for the future that we will definitely get something pretty big from him and the X-Men, hopefully before too long. But our last thing that we wanted to talk about, so I know that we're comic books. Yep. We're comic book fans on the show. But we also love nerdy things in general. And one of those things is Transformers. Okay.
Oh, heck
we all love Transformers. Transformers is super epic. And also, with that being said, the most epic outro of all time for any music that comes with a Michael Bay Transformers film.
Oh, snap.
It's almost always a Linkin Park song.
Yeah, dude, you can't get any better. You know, when you kick off that movie and it ends, and Linkin Park, just the distortion hits in. Oh man, yeah, that is Transformers. There is no other thing. Transformers and Linkin Park are like this.
Oh yeah. So if you guys didn't know, me and Blake are huge music fans. And we are also really big fans of the band Linkin Park. And
Absolutely.
probably some
I
of
know
the
where you're
biggest
going
news
with this.
in music today is that Linkin Park has officially announced their new lead vocalist, and it is Emily Armstrong
Oh
from
yeah.
the band Dead Sarah. I'm going to pull up
Mhm.
an image really quick here just to show you guys who this is. And this is something that I'm honestly really excited about. I'm just super hyped that, Linkin Park is back. I'm super hyped that we're going to be getting new music. They're supposed to be releasing a new album. They released a new single with Emily in the song, and I think it sounded great. They did a whole like reunion show kind of thing where she was singing all the old Linkin Park songs, and she sounded great on the vocals. I think it was definitely. It wasn't what I was expecting, but it's very much something that I'm welcoming and that I'm excited for the future for.
Yeah, dude. So this chick, all right. So I heard Linkin Park was coming back, and I heard they were gonna have a vocalist, and I kind of thought like they'll probably get like some of their other friends and bands to like fill in, maybe on tour. But then like the news was kind of like, no, like they're gonna bring in a vocalist to join the band, and they're gonna write more music again, and they're gonna tour. And I'm really like, I noticed the internet is super split on this. Like people are like, you could never replace Chester. Like they're like up in arms. They're angry about this. Um, Guys, like this is that Chester is like their brother. And I mean, how many years has it been? Like 7 or 8 years or something since Chester
Um,
passed away? I mean, it's been quite a
I
while.
want to say, was it 2017? So it's been like
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah. So these guys lost their brother and they took a long time to grieve. I mean, they haven't done anything. Mike Shinoda's done some stuff, but like as far as Linkin Park, no. And like it's really like mentally healthy for them to start. The fact that they're writing music and wanting to tour again shows that they're in a good place mentally. I mean, as a musician myself, writing music and performing music is therapy. And so these guys are like the fact that they're stepping back out again shows like a huge thing for their mental health. But then also this Emily Armstrong chick comes in, and you can go watch some live videos of them playing the other day. They like debuted her and they played some songs. And she, as a vocalist, I will say this. I really respect the amount of work she has put in because I don't know anything about her. I mean, she literally comes in out of nowhere for me. I didn't know that Dead Sarah band. But her voice, she has trained it to try her best to capture some of Chester's unique, kind of screamy vocals, but also still be herself. And like as a vocalist, I respect the heck out of that, man, because that is a lot of hard work. Chester is not a vocalist you just step into and be like, yeah, I could do that. Imagine the weight on her shoulders, right? She's in some band and she's doing some stuff, and all of a sudden, like Linkin Park comes up and they're like, hey, we're thinking that you could be our new vocalist. Like, dude, the weight of that, like hitting you, that would be wild. But I really like it so far. That new single, the song they wrote together, I'm looking forward to that album. When her voice comes in, she says the word revolver. So she like something, something, a revolver. And when she says that, you can feel that like the energy and like she wants to scream. Like you can feel it in her vocal cords. I heard the word revolver and I knew that's all it took. I was like, nope, she's in, she's good. And then the song kept going and she totally proved me right. So I back it 100%. I'm excited for the album. If they tour anywhere around here, I'll go check it out. Like, they're not replacing Chester. It's just the band's just growing and they're back and they're mentally in a good place. And if anything, it's an honor and a tribute to him. I'm sure he wouldn't want like all the Linkin Park fan base and all those years of hard work just to go sitting collecting dust, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with all of what you said.
Yeah,
I'm very
with
excited
whatever you're
for them.
saying, bro, I'm in because it's Linkin Park. Let's go.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what they end up doing. And kind of like what you were saying, like they lost their brother. And I know you've been in bands, and you know
Yeah.
that brotherhood, that bond that you can build with each other, especially whenever I mean, these guys were on the road touring for years, and then for a loss like that to just happen, it's going to take time, and they definitely, I mean, took that time to kind of heal and get to a place where they felt comfortable writing music again, and so. You also got to think it's probably pretty hard for them to bring in someone else that isn't Chester. For them to come back as a band without Chester is definitely something that's probably weighing on them a lot. And so I don't know if you're having mixed feelings about it, I would definitely say check him out. Check out the new song. Give her a chance. Give her a chance if you're not, because I'm very much excited for the future for them. So.
Me too. I feel like one day Optic Blast broadcast, maybe we'll have Linkin Park on the show. If we're not too busy, maybe we'll get a hold of Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a hold of Mike and maybe he'll swing by.
I'd be open to it. I would consider it.
Yeah,
I would say
consider it.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see, bro. Maybe next. I don't know. We got a lot going on.
Well, with that being said, actually, I almost forgot. I forgot our DC newsletter.
Oh yeah, bro! Bring out the newsletter. What's cracking in DC?
I almost forgot about it. So our DC newsletter this week. So let me get this pulled up here.
Look at that handsome Nightwing. Did you see him back there? He's so handsome.
So our DC newsletter kicks off with a kind of like review wrap up about the Harley Quinn character in Batman's Caped Crusader, which is a new animated series that is out on Max right now, I believe. And it says that it's a noir inspired show set during the 1940s. But part of what makes Caped Crusader so compelling is its willingness to reinvent how we understand Harley Quinn. So Harley Quinn is a very unique character, I think, in the DC universe. And so I actually haven't watched this show, but apparently they're doing something pretty different with her. I feel like they're doing a lot different with this show. So if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you go check it out. Blake, have you looked at all into this show?
So I have not finished the show. I just finished the Harley Quinn. Well, I don't know. It might keep going, but I watched a couple episodes that she was in, and I think I finished her story arc. I think I'm on episode like 6 or 7 now. The show's great. It reminds me a lot of the old animated series. Definitely has that like noir 1940s, definitely more of a detective show, but I love what they did with Harley Quinn. I don't want to spoil it. You just need to go watch it. It's totally different, but it really like reinventing Harley Quinn is like something I think that's needed because people forget that she was a doctor. Like she's a psychiatrist. Like she's brilliant. She's really smart. And this show is like, okay, let's explore that. And she's not just like, oh, I dress up like a clown and I hate Batman. Like that's not really Harley Quinn. Like she's got way more depth. Yeah, Mr. J. It's like, she's way more than that. And this show, I think, taps into it. It might be on Max. A lot of DC stuff is on Max. I know for sure it's on Amazon Prime because that's what I watched it on.
Maybe that's what it is on. It might just be on Amazon Prime. That sounds like it might be right.
But definitely, check it out. I don't want to say anything else, but it's a good show. Definitely check it out. Harley Quinn is actually my favorite part so far of the show.
Nice. Yeah, I've thought about checking it out, so I may before too long. But so our next thing here is I want to say I may have mentioned this on the show before, but it is the anniversary of Batman or Batman Day 2024. So apparently they are in celebration of the 85th anniversary. They're doing a special studio tour and screening of Tim Burton's Batman 89 on September 21st at the Warner Bros. Studio.
Long live the Bat.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Also shout out Michael Keaton. It was Michael Keaton's birthday the other day. Michael Keaton, greatest Batman of all time. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday, Michael Keaton. I didn't know it was his birthday. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to call him up and see if he'll get on the show too.
Yeah. I know he's doing like the Beetlejuice press tour, but he might stop by. If we say Beetlejuice 3 times, then maybe he'll really stop by.
He might. And then this is also another thing that I think is pretty cool. So the DC shop is having the official Superman 2025 merch up. It's everywhere, pretty much on this website.
What do you
So if
think
you
about
haven't
that
had a
new
chance,
logo?
I think it's pretty sick.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it's like it's different, but I like it. I'm with it.
Yeah, it is definitely very different, but I am very much here for it. I'm very excited, honestly, for the Superman DCU in general. I'm just super hyped for all of it. I haven't seen one bad thing that I feel negative about, so
No.
I trust in James Gunn.
Well, like when he had the original S, and they're like, "What's that S on your shirt?" And he's like, "Oh, it's not an S. It's a Kryptonian symbol for hope or whatever." Like you're like, bro, that's just literally an S. Like,
Yeah,
but this one I can see that's it. You could say that's an S, or it could just be some sort of symbol. I'm with it. Yeah.
yeah. And then we got some interesting stuff. So I guess there's a new Watchmen coming out, and it's going to go more in detail about Dr.
Oh,
Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, huh?
So it says, we may have been entirely wrong about why Dr. Manhattan goes to Mars. It says, was he just feeling more detached from humanity and no longer saw a need to participate in it? After seeing Watchmen Chapter 1, Joshua Lapin Bortone is looking at it in another way. So if you want to go read about that, definitely go read about that. Then we also got another article about Shazam. How does I can't read. How does Shazam tell people his name?
I've never thought about that.
Yeah. He's got the power of the gods, but how does Shazam introduce himself? So they're investigating this. There's a whole article all about that. If you're interested in that,
That's a
go
good question.
read it.
I've never thought about it. He's like, "Hey,
I
I'm
don't really
Shazam." Then he
know.
turns back into the kid. You're like, dang it.
I don't really know too much about Shazam, but I
So
guess
if he
does he?
if he says Shazam, so he's a little kid actually. He's like a
Okay.
I don't know, 12-year-old kid or something. And when he says Shazam, like lightning strikes him and he turns into like the powers of the god, the superhero Shazam. When he's Shazam, if he says Shazam again, he turns back into like Billy or whatever his name is. So the movie Shazam is pretty good actually. Like that, if you haven't seen that, definitely check out. I haven't watched the sequel. I heard it's good, but that first Shazam movie, that's money, dude. It's a good one.
I might have to check it out. I've heard decent things about that movie, so
Yeah,
I'll
it's pretty
probably,
good. It's
hopefully, I'll get
worth a
around
watch.
to it one day.
Worth a
Then next
watch.
up is our little character spotlight here. I don't know anything about these characters, but it sounds pretty interesting. Called Dead Boy Detectives. Edward Payne and Charles Rowland are no different than most boys. They love adventure games and spending time outdoors. They also happen to be two of the best detectives in England, and they're very dead.
And they're dead.
Check out the Dead Boy Detectives if you have not already. It sounds I'm intrigued by it. I've never heard of it before, but very interesting. And then a couple
that new stuff.
Yeah, so a couple comics they got available right now. It's Absolute Power 3. It looks like some kind of Batman comic. It looks pretty intense, to be honest. Then we got My Adventures with Superman #4. And then we got Trinity Special World's Finest #1. It looks like some sort of Wonder Woman vibe, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah. But yeah, that is going to do it for our DC newsletter this week. And that is also going to do it for comic news this week. That was a lot to cover and ended up being more than I expected, but it was a good time. And with that being said, Blake, you know what time it is.
Oh, yes, I do. Always this time of the show. Is that little time we like to call Toy Time. All right, Toy Time. Today, we're going to be looking at an action figure lineup from Todd McFarlane himself. You know anything about Todd McFarlane? That's the dude who made Spawn, Venom. We've shouted him out before on the show. He makes action figures, and he makes very expensive action figures. He makes very expensive statues, but his stuff is always the best stuff. As a kid, the Spawn toys were so much better than all the other toys as far as like their accuracy, their detail, the way they could move. But this lineup is really cool. It's near and dear to my heart. It's called the DC Super Powers lineup. this lineup is based off the 80s action figures. So they kind of took the 80s action figure vibes and they basically like kind of remade them now today. And today's toy, oh yeah, Dylan's pulling it up here. So this is their lineup right now. There's all sorts of different figures from all sorts of different, look how many are sold out. My favorite thing about them is that they're $9.99. Most of them are. They're affordable. Like if I go to Walmart and I see one, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I don't feel so bad about dropping $10 on an action figure. Yeah, look, there's the Batman, the manga Batman. I mean, they literally have like so many different types. There's like Nightfall. There, whatever storyline you're into, they probably have made a figure for it. A Blue Beetle gets a figure. Like it's really cool, and they look. Oh yeah, look at that whole set, dude. Powers Wave, but. Anyway, it's really cool. There's all sorts of different lineups. If you're grew up with action figures as a kid, you'll see shout outs to stuff that you saw growing up. And it keeps that vintage box, that Super Powers box from when I was a kid. This is the box that my like Robin came in and my Batman came in. Yeah, look at that, bro. They got Nightfall Nightwing in there. Yeah, it's legit. They're legit and they're cheap. And that's why I like them. And Todd McFarlane, you can't go wrong. So I actually have one. It's been hanging up. I think I got this for my birthday. Oh, I can't remember who got it for me. It was either my buddy Brandon or my brother. One of them got it for me. They're always the ones that get me really cool toys for my birthday. But he's been hanging up on my wall ever since. I love this guy. It is the Super Powers Nightwing. It is the Hush edition. So this is the way his uniform looks in Hush, which is a Batman graphic novel we will cover on the show eventually. One of the greatest Batman stories of all time. And Nightwing is like one of the main characters of it. That's probably why I like that story so much. But yeah, you can see the box is the old vintage box. I didn't take him out of the box because, well, it's just a cool packaging. It's a cool everything. On the back, it's just like when I was a kid, man. It gives you the little card that shows you like who is Nightwing, what is his origin story. You get all the other like characters that are part of this lineup. And then down here, you get they actually have like little vehicles too. So you got the Superman mobile and you got the little Batwing. And not only do we have Nightwing here today. Oh, wait, there's more. We actually have the little jet. So the little jet that comes with the DC, I got this for my birthday. I know Brandon got me this. I think Corbin got me the Nightwing and Brandon got me this. But for my birthday one year, and it's just this little jet. And the thing is, it was affordable too. I think it's like $20. But it's just like a little jet. I mean, I didn't have this one as a kid, but it's really cool. I actually have in here, happy birthday again, shout out. I got Michael Keaton Batman in here hanging out. So, hey, man, toy time is all about toys. Me and the kids have a lot of fun with this thing. We play with it all the time. That's why it was just sitting out here. We were literally playing with it last night. So, that's toy time. That's your DC superpowers. Go check those out, man. You got a figure you're thinking of, like, man, I wonder if they have Bruce Wayne, not Bruce Wayne, but Thomas Wayne when he was Batman. They do. Go check it out. There's like all sorts of obscure stuff. They're cheap. They're collectible. Hang them up on your wall. That's toy time. DC Superpowers, Nightwing Hush from McFarlane.com. Check it out, man. Definitely a fun toy. All right. That's a quick toy time segment for you today. We're going to go to break. We've been kind of talking a lot. I need some water. I need to hydrate because we're getting ready to go fight crime in Gotham City, and you got to stay hydrated to fight crime in Gotham City. All right. We'll be right back. It's break time. All right. We are back from break. I just went and jammed that Linkin Park song again. So good. Got a little coffee. Got my It's early in the morning. Well, not really early anymore. Still early in the morning over here for Optic Blast broadcast. So I go in and got some coffee. Got my little Vans mug out. Greatest skateboard shoe of all time. Anyway, all right. So hey, we're getting into it. This is Nightwing Year One. Dylan and I picked this up on Amazon. What was it? $19.99?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's $30 in store. So it's $29.99 in store. But if you just get on Amazon, bro, $19.99. Pick it up. This is a hardback and it's a deluxe edition. You get bonus stuff with it too. So that's the book we're looking at today. I'm going to read the synopsis from the back of the flaps here. It's beautiful. So I'm going to read this. Let's get into this Nightwing. I'm so hype on this. I love Nightwing. I'm so excited we got a Nightwing episode. It only took us 12 episodes, but here we are. Don't worry, it's not the end. We'll have plenty more Nightwing. Let's read this. It says, Boy Wonder no more. After spending his youth as Robin, the Boy Wonder, Dick Grayson will step out of Batman's shadow and reinvent himself as the daring solo act Nightwing. Without his mentor's guidance, Nightwing must find his footing as a hero in his own right for the first time. Navigating the world of superheroes and supervillains alone, seeking the advice of Superman, and revisiting the circus where his life began in the Flying Graysons, Nightwing embarks on an odyssey of self-discovery that will set the course for the man he is destined to become. Writers Scott Beatty, he's from Batgirl Year One and Robin Year One, so Scott is writing these Year Ones. Chuck Dixon from Batman No Man Land and Batman Nightfall. You got Chuck Dixon, who wrote Nightfall, is also writing this. It definitely shows through. Reunites with the acclaimed penciler of Scott McDaniel and the inker Andy Owens to tell the story of Nightwing Year One. This is a all-star list of writers, penciler, artists working together to make Nightwing Year One, and it definitely shows off. I mean, you just look at this cover and you're like, bro, this is money right here. This edition that we got is the 20th anniversary deluxe edition. It collects the entire saga, and it also features a brand new introduction by the writer, never before printed outlines, stories, and I really enjoyed the outline stuff because as a person who likes to write, I've always wondered, like, how do they write comics? That outline format is new. I think that's cool. I didn't know that's how they do it. And then it has the Nightwing 104 script behind the scenes. So anyway, it's a really cool book, behind the scenes, all that. But we're getting into the story. This is it, man. How does he go from Robin into Nightwing? What is the transition? My first introduction, so it's the 6 series. So it takes 6 comic books. They put them all together. They make this guy. It's a quick read. I read half of it on a lunch break and then the other half last night. And it didn't take me long. So if you're into like quick reads and something fun, this is definitely a great book. But 6 issues it covers. It goes from from Robin being fired into how he becomes Nightwing. I remember my first introduction to Nightwing was as a kid, the DC animated series. They didn't do an episode on how Robin became Nightwing. Some of those episodes were sequential, and then some of them were just random one-offs. And I just remember randomly there was a new Robin, randomly there was Nightwing, and they never really talk about what happened, except Dick Grayson has got a chip on his shoulder in that episode, and he looks so cool. He's in all black with the big blue Nightwing on his chest, and he's got the long hair. And in the 90s, a mullet was cool, and he had the long mullet, and you're just he rode a motorcycle and crashed a helicopter. And he's kind of this renegade. I don't know. I just remember being a kid and that he showed up and I was like, dude, that's him right there. Batman, you need to go sit down. I need to figure out this Nightwing guy. But I didn't really have access to a lot of Nightwing comics until I got a little older. But that was my first thought when I saw Nightwing was this is one of the coolest superheroes ever, right?
Yeah.
What about you? What was the first time you ever saw Nightwing on anything?
So the first time I saw Nightwing was actually in Teen Titans.
Oh, bro, I know. Okay, go ahead. Tell the story.
So episode 1 of season 2, there's an episode where I can't think of the villain's name, but the Titans are taking on this dude, and he's it's one of the clock dudes or the one of the people that can time travel, and so the Titans are taking on him, and all of a sudden he opens up this portal. He's about to go back in time, and Starfire pushes him through this portal where they're flying through, and she ends up breaking his time travel device, and she ends up falling into some distant future where the Titans are completely dismembered. They're broken up. None of them are together. They're all really old cyborgs, on this generator thing to keep him alive.
Beast Boy's bald.
Beast Boy's bald.
I remember this.
Raven is off doing her thing.
She's crazy. Then, she's stuck in a white room or something. I remember, dude, this episode is epic. Go ahead.
Yeah, dude. And so then enter who you think at first is Robin. But it's not. It's Nightwing, and he's in that very similar to what you were describing, the classic black and blue with the Nightwing and the long hair. And so I feel that was just one of the most epic like intros, and he's all like, but he's not. He doesn't really. I feel like he doesn't really have a chip on his shoulder. This version of him is very like dark and broody, very much more mature than the Robin that you see from the previous Titans episodes, and so it was very different. But I just remember seeing him, and I was like, dude, this is him. That's him. And I was like, that's so sick. So you actually ended up going back and rewatching a little bit of that episode last night after I got done reading. So yeah, it was that was my first introduction to Nightwing, and since then I've been obsessed with the character because I love origin stories, and I feel like this is like a classic origin story, and it's also a different spin on it too because it's like we already got Robin's origin story,
right,
and then we go from there to where he completely reinvents himself and goes off on his own and becomes his own person. And I just think, I don't know, I just love the story. So
yeah, I'm with you, bro. I think I remember that episode well of Teen Titans. Teen Titans also, I will say, is probably, I'll say it. I'm gonna say it right here. It's the best DC animated like series show that they ever made. I mean, don't get me wrong, Justice League is sick. Young Justice is right there behind Teen Titans. I mean, Young Justice is so good. But man, that old Teen Titans, it's so. But I'm not talking about Teen Titans Go. I'm talking about the OG Teen Titans. They were bad, dude. They threw down on everybody. It had like anime style. It had humor. All the voice actors are the voice actors. Like when I hear Robin talk in a comic book, I hear that voice actor. It's just how it is, man. And that was such a good show. I'm glad you brought that up because that Nightwing is one of my favorite Nightwing designs too. I call that the Davey Havoc Nightwing. He looks like the Sing the Sorrow era of AFI. He's got like the long hair. It's not a mullet. He just has like the long hair and he's like goth kind of. He's got these big old boots on. And I always hear like AFI's The Art of Drowning Part 2 play, like right when I see that, like guitar intro. Yeah. David Havoc, Nightwing, he's the man. Yeah, that's an awesome intro. So animated series brought both of us to Nightwing, sounds like. So that's awesome, dude. All right.
Yeah, so I'll never forget like whenever Starfire's like, Robin? And he's like, I haven't gone by that name in a long time. Or whatever he says.
Right. And he's the only one that's still fighting crime and stuff. And he hasn't missed a beat. If anything, he's gotten better. And so I respect that. That's awesome, dude. Heck yeah. All right. So going into this, so like we were introduced in animated series and in Teen Titans, Nightwing, but we didn't get an origin of Nightwing. There is no animated origin of Nightwing that I know of yet. Maybe they'll make one now. But this comic is it. You want to find out how did it happen? How did the Boy Wonder, the sidekick, the dynamic duo, how did him and Batman split? And why does he have a chip on his shoulder about Batman? Like, what is it? So these writers, this story goes into it pretty hardcore. It starts off with him being fired from being Robin. Like Batman and Robin are fighting Clayface. Batman is, I'm just going to like say it, dude. Like Batman is a jerk in this whole comic. Like, he is not really, I don't know what's on his deal. I think he's jealous, honestly. Like Robin has gone off and started to lead the Teen Titans, and Robin is kind of stepping into his own. This is a story of growing up. He's older. He's a little big to be a Robin, but he's still Robin. He's the first Robin. And he's I think Batman's a little jealous. Like he's like, you should have been here with me all the time by my side. Like you shouldn't be leading the Teen Titans, you know? And Robin's like, no, bro, like I got, world-ending threats we're taking on here, Batman. It's not just Gotham for me, which in that sense, like he's right, So yeah, they fight Clayface and eventually it ends. It's a really cool issue, but it ends with Batman basically firing Robin because he's a punk, I guess. I don't know. He just can't handle the fact that Robin's got more stuff going on, And Alfred, throughout this whole 6-part issue series, I love Alfred in this so much because Alfred is like that voice of reason to Bruce, and he's the dad of the whole Bat family. Like when you look at the Bat family, you think like, oh yeah, Batman's the dad of the Bat family. Not really, kind of. He's like the big brother who kind of guides everything, but the real dad of the Bat family is freaking Alfred Pennyworth, dude. Alfred's that man. He's the dude, and he calls out Bruce constantly on his crap. in this book, and I love it. Because Bruce
Yeah,
is just
even whenever like right before their whole talk between Batman and Robin, like so basically the throughout the whole book, I think you kind of said it whenever we were talking a little bit before we started recording. But basically this, or I think it was yesterday, but this whole book is essentially like a letter to Batman. He's currently recording this message as we go through this entire story from the point of when they fight Clayface all the way up to the end of the book. He's recording all of his thoughts and feelings and everything that he had to process between the time throughout the entire book, and one recording that he ended up sending to Batman at the end, which we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But so in the recording, he's kind of like, before we had the conversation where Batman pretty much fires him, he's like, he intentionally gets Alfred out of the room so that way they can have their conversation alone. And like Dick's kind of going like, well, you intend it. It's almost like, whenever he's not around, you can say whatever you want. Right. And so I thought that was very interesting and kind of more towards your point of like Alfred being the dad, but whenever he's not around, Bruce can say whatever he wants to. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like the format of this book a lot. I love self-narration in comics like Daredevil, Batman, when the author or the narrator is the main character kind of talking about what's going on while stuff is going on. I really like that. But this one was a little different. He is doing that, but he's doing it because he's recording his feelings about everything for Batman. To Batman. And I love that because he even talks about how like he can't really talk to Batman. Like, like he can't really open up. Like he tries to get Batman to open up, but people kind of forget like Batman's an extremely emotionally damaged human being. Like he's Batman and I love Batman, but like, any dude that would spend his whole time like fighting crime and dressing up and doing all that stuff, dude, like he's mentally, he's a little off, bro. He's genius and I love him, but he's not really emotionally available, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. And Nightwing needs that. Robin needs that. Dick Grayson, he's a little damaged, but he's way better off mentally, I feel, than Bruce is. But I really love that style where he's like talking to Bruce while you're reading the story. And the very beginning, when it shows him on that snowmobile and he's like coming to Batman's aid, I think it kicks. I'm only gonna read like 2 or 3 lines because it'll set the tone for the whole rest of the series. It says, both of us knew this was inevitable with college, with the Teen Titans, with what little life I had of my own. With all that, I had to be late the one time I was really needed. So like he gets fired for basically not being right where Batman needed him right then and there. He's late. Yeah, even though he saves Batman's butt.
Yeah, I know. There was one line where Batman says during their little argument there, he says, anything less than total devotion to this cause is simply wasting my time.
Right.
Which I feel like that line is really cool because I'm sure we'll talk about it again a little bit later, but there's a line in it might have been towards the end of Nightwing's message where he says, I'm still fighting your cause, but I'm just doing it on my own, basically.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool like tie in there. And like it kind of like a callback to that line that Bruce is saying about total devotion to the cause.
Yeah.
So
agreed. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I just love the artwork of this book. I'm just going to show off some stuff. Like they went all in with this, dude. Look at Clayface, man. I feel like as I'm reading this, I'm like watching the animated series, but even the animation is even better, like next tier level of awesomeness. But yeah, so that's the thing. They get into it. They have this big fight. Robin kind of walks away. Batman basically fires him. And then that kind of leads into, like I said, I love Alfred kind of calling Bruce out on all his crap, but that kind of leads to a really cool scene that kind of throw back to All-Star Superman, where when he's down in the dumps, Batman has thrown him out and he's off to do his own thing. He goes to Superman to talk because you know who is emotionally available? You know who is mentally healthy and a good guy to talk to when you're in trouble? Superman, Clark Kent. He's a good guy to go talk to. He's ready. So he goes to talk to him. I really love that whole issue. The issue is called Friends in High Places. So I thought that was like kind of cool too. But he goes to talk to him. I like Lois in this. It's just a cool series of Nightwing. I love him like just in his regular old, he's Robin then, or not even Robin. He's been fired. He's just swinging around Metropolis trying to help Superman. They're hanging out. I just love it. It's so good. They stop a bomb threat type thing together. But when they talk, something happens that I think is really cool. And that's actually leading us to one of our favorite segments of the show. We teased it before and we did it on accident, but we're going to do the real thing right now. Load it up. It's time for Proton Cannon. That's right, Proton Cannon, where we find out what is canon, what's the origin, what's the main thing, what's real, what's not, who took liberties, who didn't. We're going to get to the origin. Why does he call himself Nightwing? Was it just some cool name? Was it just something he thought of off the top? We find out that actually the name Nightwing comes from Big Blue, comes from Superman himself. Superman tells him an origin story about a hero from Krypton that he kind of like knew about. That was like a fable. That was a legend of old in the Kryptonian age. And his name was Nightwing. So Superman tells him all about Nightwing and his time. He says, there was a hero of sorts on my home world that many centuries before my birth. He was cast out by his family also. I thought that was interesting, that Nightwing was cast out by his family, just like Batman cast out Dick Grayson. And he dreamt of justice, and he dreamt of helping the weak. He dreamt of showing his family that he was better than they gave him credit for. He used his talents and his skills to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. And I love it. He says he became a legend, so Nightwing is the legendary superhero in Superman's time, in Superman's world. And so that's where he ends up taking the name Nightwing from. So Superman is the one who gave Dick Grayson the idea to name himself Nightwing. So that's your Proton Cannon. Where did Nightwing come from? Where did the name come from? Came from Big Blue, came from Superman himself. So again, Superman getting more credit. I feel like I just grow a little bit more and more with my love for Superman every time we do one of these episodes. So that's your Proton Cannon. Superman's also that dude, man. He's the cool big brother you want to go talk to and like help you with stuff. Whereas Batman's kind of,
So Dick's kind of wanting to like reinvent himself and try to figure out, who he is without Batman. And I feel like it's interesting because the whole conversation that they had, he approaches Superman. He's like, I kind of just wanted your perspective. And Superman's like, of a costume hero. And he's like, no, as an objective, he worded it as an objective observer of the human race.
Yeah.
Basically as an alien.
As an alien? Yeah.
And so one question that he asked Superman that I found really interesting that leads into him telling the story about Nightwing is like, what made you take this route? Like, why? You're from a different world. You have all these powers. Like, why are you trying to help us? And he's like, well, instead of telling you, why don't I show you? And then he goes into that whole spiel about like Nightwing and how he was like a protector and all that. So I feel like that was a very interesting question that he had. Like why does Superman do what he does? Well, he was inspired by Nightwing, and now Dick's being inspired by Nightwing by literally taking up the mantle as Earth's version of Nightwing, essentially.
Yeah. There's actually an older comic too where Batman and Robin and Clark go into that little Kryptonian city and they have to like basically make up new disguises, and Superman takes on the mantle of Nightwing. This is like an old comic. And so I think they're kind of shouting that out in year one as well. So that's really cool. So Superman's that dude. It's a great issue. I like at the end, he actually takes him to the Fortress of Solitude. And he's like, this is kind of where I go when I need to like unwind, where I go when I need to like reflect. Like, do you have a place like that, Dick? And Dick, the next scene is Dick at the circus, the Haley Circus. And it's a really cool shot. He's kind of like like a homeless dude, basically, just like with a backpack going up to the circus. He has a really cool issue in the circus. They kind of talk a little bit about the Flying Graysons. In the meantime, Batman is like trying to check up on him. Alfred dusts off the Robin this costume, and Batman kind of gives Alfred like, I told you not to do that. It's not a trophy, or it's not a, like Batman's in his feelings about Dick being gone, even though he fired him. He's in his feelings about it. The whole episode or the whole book in the circus was really cool. He kind of catches up with old friends. He comes up with a little bit of an idea for a costume because they look at his dad's old Flying Grayson suit. And that's kind of where he there it is. That's his dad, and his dad's Johnny Grayson, and his the Angel Without Wings. That's his old suit. So then Dick in turn is like, all right, I like that idea. I'm going to make one because he's going to go back to doing the trapeze artist stuff for a while. Mm-hmm. And he gets a blue one. And so he makes it like his dad. Deadman is in this. And I really like that. I think that's cool. He comes in and you find out like he has some like weird, creepy stuff happen to Dick where like people are like, okay, Boy Wonder. And like, it's because Deadman is like possessing them and talking to them, talking through them. And you find out that Deadman, the whole reason he's there is Batman asked him to go check up on Dick. So as much as Batman is pushing Dick away and he's still concerned about him, and it's almost like Batman's trying to orchestrate this plan to bring him back to the fold. And he's doing it through like Deadman and then Batgirl and other ways. But while he is kind of a jerk in this, and he's definitely in his feelings because he's not good at expressing his emotions, he is still checking on Nightwing, and he is kind of trying to bring him back. I like the part where the Donna from I think it's Wonder Girl calls him from the Teen Titans, and she like calls in and like Beast Boy's turned into an octopus trying to like or something like that, trying to make breakfast. Yeah. And like just I love the Teen Titans, and I love that they kind of like throw the Titans in there. And she calls him with like an emergency, and he's like, "What's going on?" or whatever. And it's just Gar making breakfast, But yeah, so I like that episode a lot too. I thought that was pretty cool. Every one of these, all 6 issues are all bangers. Like I didn't have a dead spot in the series as I read through it. Jason Todd is also introduced in that episode, or in that I keep saying episode.
He's right.
He's trying to steal the wheels off the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And so Batman like basically kidnaps the kid, and Alfred's like, "What is going on?" And then he's like, "Are you intend to keep this guy?" And so they tease the origin story of Jason Todd in here. They kind of throw it in roughly. It's not his comic, but we do find out, and that is canon. That's how Jason Todd came into the fold. He was literally trying to steal the wheels off the Batmobile, and Batman was missing Dick and decided he's going to try to recruit a new young talent, right? I liked all the trapeze artist stuff. It's really cool. There's some good things there as far as like the way he can move and do all those things. The Deadman reveal that he was actually Bruce was just checking up on Dick was great. And then Jason Todd wearing the Robin suit. It's like he hasn't been there very long at all. And then all of a sudden, now he's Robin, right? But Bruce is working with him. That was Deadman talking. That was that one. The next one is Night in the City, and I don't know if it's my favorite, but it might be. It might be my favorite out of the 6. I don't know. They're all so good, so it's hard to pick a favorite. But I really love Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, and Dick Grayson, Nightwing. I love their relationship. Like they've kind of grown up together with Batman, like in the Bat family. They've fallen in love and out of love. They are best friends, and they're sometimes lovers. Like there's a lot of tension in there, and it's really good for writing. Also, you find out through this that he's apparently either with Starfire or has been with Starfire somewhat recently because they're about to kiss, and she brings up Starfire. She's like, "Yeah, that one girl with legs up to my chin, like I'm sure she's not going to like you talking to me or whatever, So I thought that was cool. It starts off with him and Gordon talking, and like basically it's just him coming back to Gotham as Nightwing. He's made the new uniform, he's made the new outfit, and he shows up, and he's like basically comes back to Gotham, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to be by myself now. I'm still going to fight crime, like you said. He's still on the mission, that Bruce has. He's still on it, but he's going to do it on his own terms. He's going to do it by himself. So I really like that whole issue. The whole time you're finding out that Jason Todd is training to be Robin. Batman is running him through the mill. And Jason Todd's apparently doing pretty good at training because he continues to move forward. And then you just get this really cool issue of Nightwing and Batgirl just running the city together. They do some really fun adventures. And all it is Nightwing's trying to like let all the villains know and the streets know.
Making his debut.
That's right. He's like, hey, man, I'm that dude. I'm Nightwing, and I'm here to throw down on you.
He just goes really cool. He just goes and just meets the Joker in Arkham. He's like, yeah, I'm Nightwing.
Yeah, I want you to know who I am because I'm on these streets now. I mean, you're just coming out there flexing on everybody. Here's the thing. Here's what I love about Nightwing. Okay, because I've always said I like him more than Batman as much as I love Batman. I can relate more with Nightwing because he is more optimistic. He is more hopeful. That's kind of more I'm not a really brooding guy. I can really kind of identify with Nightwing more because he's more optimistic. He's more hopeful. I call him the Spidey or like the Parker, Peter Parker of the DC universe because he's super acrobatic. He shoots his cables, but he has a sense of humor and he cuts jokes the whole time he fights bad guys. He's always got that little spin. Even when he's fighting Clayface as Robin, he's like saying funny stuff. And so when they go on that, he goes and knocks on Joker's door or whatever. And he says, Joker's like, who's there? And he's like, I see. And Joker puts his eyes in like the window and is like, I see who? And he pokes him in the eyes. And so he's like, Joker's like, I can't believe I fell for that. And then like, to me, that's just like funny, like, and then he says all sorts of funny stuff. He even gets Batgirl in on it. Like while they're fighting like the Penguin or somebody, even she starts throwing out little quips. It's like when you hang out with Nightwing, his positive attitude, optimism, and humor is contagious. And you can't help but kind of feel it and kind of start rolling with it, at least in Batgirl's position. That's probably one of the reasons Bruce was mad at him. Like they're total opposite on that. But I love that issue. Him going out flexing on everybody. There's like a really funny scene where they go into this like strip club basically because they're beating up all these convicts and Batgirl's like on the pole swinging, kicking people. And Nightwing says like, hey, you might've found a new job there. Like, just stupid stuff like that is Nightwing. Like, it's just funny to me.
Yeah. She says, but the place is crowded with wanted felons and I actually like working the pole. I started laughing a little bit. I was like, wow. Okay.
See what I mean? Nightwing comics are fun. You have fun when you read them. You laugh. There's adventure. It's just awesome. I like the little jab they did at Cobblepot. Batgirl did this one. Like they're leaving because the cops are there. And he says, we'll see who runs this town, me or you freaks. And Batgirl does like the ooh, like the Scott Hall. She's like, ooh, wingless Antarctic fowl, scary. Like you don't usually see Batgirl do stuff like that, but she's hanging out with Nightwing and it's rubbing off on her, right? So anyway, it was a really fun issue. I like that one a lot. That kind of leads towards the like later half of the book, towards the end. You got Jason Todd going through what they call the gauntlet. He's training. They kind of do this weird. It's like, I guess it's part of the game. It's part of the training where you have Jason Todd and Nightwing meet each other. And I really like that. There's another book called The Boys, Nightwing, The Boys, that's highly recommended. I haven't read it before. I almost wanted to read that one, but Year One is the one we found. I'm glad we did. But you just see like Nightwing and Jason Todd, like they meet, they fight a little bit. Nightwing kind of beats him up some because he keeps trying to fight him. And then they end up kind of doing this mission together because Alfred has dressed up as Two-Face. And they're trying to like do a fake mission and trick Dick and Jason into this. And they actually end up fighting like real villains at the time. Mm-hmm. And Two-Face gets abducted and it's actually Alfred. And then they have to go save Alfred. Batman gets freaking taken out of the game early in the game, dude. They freaking shoot him point blank. And it's really up to them to save Alfred. I did like one
Two-Face and Batman right there in the car.
He's wearing like a mask.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was funny. And then Batgirl, she's there to help too. They all three of them have to work together. Bruce has been shot. He's with Tompkins, right? Isn't that who takes
Yeah,
him?
yes, yeah. So Leslie Tompkins makes a little cameo in here where Bruce ends up calling her to work on because I he gets shot. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he got shot like right in the chest, and she says something like, "Hey, like this suit is bullet resistant, but you understand it's not bulletproof, right?" He's like, "I know that better than anyone." Like, you know, like, sorry, every time I read Batman, it's Kevin Conroy, like R.I.P. to the GOAT. But every time I read Batman, it's always Kevin Conroy's voice. There is no other, right? But yeah, Killer Croc gets in the mix, and Killer Croc thinks like, if I abduct Two-Face, I'll take over the gangs of Gotham City. But it's not really Two-Face. It's because Two-Face is actually locked up at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's Alfred Pennyworth. And I did like when Dead Man possessed Alfred to talk to Bruce. He was like, "Hey, for an old guy, this dude is like really fit. Like people sleep on that. Maybe we'll do that an Alfred thing one day where like you kind of understand that he does not play. He's tough, dude. He can throw down. You can't keep the Bat family in check if you're not, Alfred Pennyworth. But yeah, they fight Killer Croc. It's a cool issue. Kind of leads towards the end of it. And I did like, there was one quick note that I thought was funny when they're running across the rooftops and they're looking in, trying to find Alfred to see like where he is. And he looks in on like, I guess people making like maybe like a dirty movie or a dirty magazine or something, take a picture, and Nightwing looks down and sees the women. He's like, "Hello, nurse." Like, I thought that was awesome. It's like the Animaniacs, like cracked me up.
And then Jason starts looking over. He's like, "You shouldn't see this, Boy Wonder," and like covers his eyes.
And he's like, "Is it really that bad?" Because like
he thinks it's Alfred.
And like Killer Croc is like putting a cigar out on Two-Face's face, and it's actually a mask. And so he says something like, "Oh, your face smells like burnt rubber," and it's like, well, he doesn't realize that it actually is just a mask, right?
Yep.
So yeah, the three of them working together, Nightwing and Robin working together, I thought was really cool. This is like an awesome scene, I think, right here of those two throwing down on bad guys. Look at it. Look at both of their faces. Look at Nightwing. He's smiling. Robin smiling. I love that. Like they love the battle. They love the combat. They're having fun with it. Also, right above it is a really cool panel of Nightwing and Robin coming out of the darkness behind Alfred. Dude, that's look at that Robin. That's like so epic looking right there. That's like coming out of the darkness to throw down. And then throw down they do. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I loved how they tied it all up, wrapped it all up. You get this cool origin story. And the whole time, Nightwing is telling Bruce all his feelings about all these things. And then it kind of leads off to the very end where, like you had already brought up, he says, like, "I'm still fighting your fight, Bruce," basically. Like, I'm doing it on my way, And he got a gift from Alfred. And Alfred basically updated the Nightwing suit for him. And he added the feathers, like the gold or yellow. And you see him right there. He goes back to the Titans. So you find out that Nightwing decides to join back with the Titans and keep leading the Titans. There's Starfire right there, actually. And Cyborg's back there. So I think Raven's back there too. So the Beast Boys, the Rhino. It's good. Good stuff. So my thoughts, dude, I loved this. This might be one of the most fun. I've loved a lot of stuff we've read. We're pretty easygoing dudes, but I absolutely ate this up. I read it so fast. I recommend it to anybody who's even got a half of a liking of the Batman Gotham universe and the Gotham family. This is the perfect book for you to get into and read.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This might have been one of my, if not my favorite, it's definitely up there with my favorite of the ones that we've done so far. And I'm very excited to do more Nightwing stuff. Honestly, this book made me really want to go play Gotham Knights.
Yeah, me too, man. You can't really see it that well, but in the background, I got a Gotham Knights poster up there hanging up.
Nice. Yeah, I can see it from there. But
yeah, Gotham Knights, that's a game that is slept on because people are like, "Oh, it's not Arkham City." Yeah, but it's not supposed to be. So that's a fun game. Check out Gotham Knights for sure.
Yes, for
it's
sure.
Like $10 too. It's so cheap now. You can buy it.
Well, it's also on Game Pass. If you have Xbox, if you have Game Pass, you can get it on there too. So
just get on Game Pass and play it. It's worth your time. And you get all of them: Jason Todd, Nightwing, Robin, and Barbara Gordon. You get Batgirl in there too. So,
well, I think who is it? Tim. I think it's Tim Drake. That's the Robin.
Tim Drake is Robin. Yeah, because Jason Todd
Red Hood's Jason Todd. Yep.
Which that's a beast right there, dude. Some of his takedowns and that. My brother always played as Jason Todd, and I always played as Nightwing, and we would play together. And like I would see some of his takedowns when we're throwing down on people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude is dead. He just killed that guy. You know what? I really want to go play that now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing it. So. All
right, bro. Maybe we'll get on there together, do like a co-op game. Optic Blast Broadcast. Optic Blast Broadcast takes on Gotham City, right? Gotham Knights. I'm in, bro. All right. So yeah, that's kind of it, man. Like I didn't really give it a review. I just think it's a perfect book. So if it's a 5 out of 5, it's 5 out of 5, whatever. I'm in.
I'd give it a 5 out of 5 too.
Yeah, it's super easy read. If you're a new comic book fan, you're kind of getting into comics. Maybe you're like us and you really like the movies and the animated stuff, and you're like, this is a great entry level comic because it gives you an origin story. And it's Nightwing. He's like one of the coolest DC things you got going on, man. So definitely check that out. It is highly recommended. So that's it for Nightwing year 1. That pretty much wraps it up. You got any more thoughts on that, Dylan?
No, I mean, it was just like you said, it's almost like a perfect book. I'm a big origin story guy, and I just feel like this is an origin story of someone who's already had an origin story, I guess.
Yeah.
And so this was like right up my alley. I love Nightwing. I'm very excited to read more Nightwing, and I very much look forward to that in future episodes. But yeah, 5 out of 5, 100%. Definitely recommend. If you haven't read it, read it. It's great.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. All right. Next episode. It's September now, so we're kind of rolling into spooky season. When September hits, that's when you see like the Halloween stuff is out in the stores now. Horror movies are coming on TV all the time. So we're going to kind of follow along with spooky season. We like spooky season here. I got my trick or treat hat on. You know, I'm ready. We're gonna do a comic book, kind of a comic book review. Not really. I'm wearing it right now to kind of get ready. The Crow. We're gonna do an episode on The Crow. James Barr's Crow is a great comic. The movie that came out in the 90s is a really good adaptation of it. So we're gonna talk about the movie. I'll talk a little bit about the comic, but we're also gonna talk about the new movie. So the whole episode is going to be Crow-based. We're going to deep dive into the Crow, the mythos behind the Crow, and everything that it takes. So we'll discuss the original movie, the comic book, the new movie. So join us next time as we paint our faces, we go listen to The Cure, and we go on a revenge tour, just taking out all these criminals. Well, at least we'll talk about doing that stuff. Hey, if you like this video, please give it a like. Subscribe to this channel, Optic Blast Broadcast. This is now your one-stop shop. So we're totally video now. We were a podcast, but there's so much video content. We're totally going all in on YouTube. So share this channel with your friends, subscribe to it, send it to your grandma. But grandma, I know you don't like comic books, but subscribe to this channel. You don't even know what YouTube is. Just do it, right? Like just do it and just do that, all right? Get us a lot of views and get us out there. We're trying to get this show in more people's hands so more people like it can find out about it. We're like that entry level position for comic books, and comic books are hot, and we think everybody should have some favorite comic book, right? So definitely check out our other channels in the Hipster Goblin Media arsenal. We've got other channels out there. The Nerdy Reads podcast, those dudes are the pioneers that kicked off Hipster Goblin Media. If you're into books, reading, that kind of stuff, that's your nerdy avenue, Nerdy Reads podcast. And then there's also Anime Tofu. If you're into anime, get into Anime Tofu. They'll help you kind of guide those waters of anime. It's like the anime can get a little weird, but they guide you on here's what's good in the sea of Crunchyroll and all the stuff that's going on, Hulu and all that. So speaking of anime, in October, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero comes out. It's a video game, a fighting video game, and I cannot wait to wax all of those dudes in Sparking Zero. Optic Blast Broadcast is going to take down. You know, I know you're in Nerdy Reads, but I'm gonna need you on my team, Dylan, because I'm not gonna.
That's fine.
I'm not gonna fight them by myself. We're gonna play Sparking Zero. I'm sure we'll have some fun videos when that comes out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We love all those guys. They're our brothers, and we're just excited to get these videos out to people. So anyway, Hey, thanks for listening. It sounds like we're going to boot up Gotham Knights and go fight some crime. So we'll see you next time for The Crow. Adios.